Hello, everyone. I hope you are all in good health and condition. Welcome to Meet Me Party Rosiad, on the Parros Cement Techno Channel. On this occasion, we will explain about how to use the ISeeMulator program, that we will use to operate the coal mill. We start now, to open the simulator program. First, you open the ISeeMulator program, by extracting the simulator program file, that the ISeeMulator admin has sent to you. After extracting th file, then you open the data file and double-click on the coal mill RiseEyes file that has the Java logo, and after the display appears as it looks monitored, then click Start. Then click Start to login to ISeeMulator. Next, select a student, then select a student number that has not been used by other participants. Then type your name, and type the password given by the ISeeMulator admin. And then click Login. After the configuration display appears, it means that the ISeeMulator can be used to operate the coal mill in a simulation. Before starting to operate a coal mill, you must first study the control parameters in this configuration, and how to operate it. This is the main configuration for the operation of the coal mill. Then at the top right of this display, there are several button options, to switch to another monitor display. Coal hopper, this is a display of raw coal transport from raw coal storage to raw coal bin, for feeding to grinding mill. Next there is Group 1, this is the start and stop group monitor display, for the operation of the coal mill system. Heating and condition. This is the group for the start heater, which is installed on all coal mill dust collector hoppers. And next product transport, this is the transportation of fine coal products, from the grinding process, or from the dust collector. Then, the group start coal mill bin bag filter. Group start sealing air fan, group start separator, group start mill fan, group start hot gas booster fan, roller lubrication unit, gear lubrication unit, hydraulic system, mill motor drive, and water injection, coal mill bin gas analyzer, then coal mill stack dust analyzer, whose function is to control dust emissions, and to control CO in the fine coal bin and mill bag filter. Furthermore, the group start mill feed system, this mill feeding is made automatic with a mill drive. If the mill drive starts, then the feeding automatically starts immediately. Then the group start transport to the hopper, which is filling raw coal to the feeding hopper. Group 2, this is for CO2 injection control. Then coal burner, this display is to find out how much fine coal is used in the combustion process in the kiln system. How many tons are used in the main burner, and how many tons are used in the calciner burner, so when operating the coal mill, the production capacity must be adjusted to the needs or fuel consumption in the kiln system. Return to the main configuration of the coal mill system. Before you start operating the coal mill system, you should first study, or understand the SOP, standard operation procedure, on how to heat up a coal mill, how to start up a coal mill, and what parameters must be controlled in operating a coal mill. First I will explain about the process flow in this coal mill system. Material from the raw coal hopper through a belt conveyor equipped with a weighing feeder is fed into the coal mill, the material is ground in the mill, then the material is pulled up using a mill fan. The material from the mill then goes up to the separator to separate the coarse and fine materials. The coarse returns to the grinding mill, and the finer becomes the product. Fine material from the separator enters the dust collector. The fine coal material that is filtered in the dust collector becomes a product. Then the fine coal product through the screw conveyor is inserted into the fine coal bin 1 or into the fine coal bin 2. Furthermore, the hot gas used to operate the coal mill is taken from the combustion residue from the kiln system. You can see the temperature that comes out of the topmost preheater cyclone, and we can take it or it can be used for coal mill operations. Then the hot gas from the preheater is drawn using a booster fan, and fed into the grinding mill system. This hot gas is used for drying and grinding of materials in the mill. Before starting the mill operation, this hot gas is used for heating up first, until the mill outlet temperature reaches conditions, according to the specified operating standard. And this mill outlet temperature is also used as a requirement for starting the mill drive, and as a reference for adjusting the amount of material feeding. Hot gas from the mill rises to the dust collector, and in this dust collector there is a separation between hot gas and fine coal product material. Clean hot gas exits through the chimney, and some is fed back into the mill system as circulating air. Circulating air that is fed into the mill system can be adjusted using a circulation damper. Then the hot gas that comes out through the chimney can also be adjusted using a damper. The damper opening is set between 80 to 100%. This is also related to how much circulating air volume will be fed back into the mill system. That was the process flow for the coal mill system. From this configuration, in general you can see the main tool for grinding raw coal, which uses a vertical roller mill, then a dust collector to capture the fine coal product, which is then put into the fine coal bin. In this simulator, also equipped with product quality control, which is controlled is residue or sieve value, and also moisture content of fine coal. Then in the lower left corner of this display, there are settings that are used to control the running of the simulation. This simulation can be set the speed between 1 to 10 times the speed of the normal time. If you are already proficient in operating a coal mill with this simulator, you can set the speed up to 10 times. Because you are still learning, it is better to set 1 to 5 speeds first. To set the speed of the simulation, you can use the arrow keys 1 to increase 1 digit, and arrow 2 to increase multiples of 2, and the arrow strip up to increase directly 10, and the arrow strip down straight back to 1. Furthermore, there is a button facility to store the simulation data that has been carried out. Then there is a scoop button which functions to clean the material in the mill, if there is an overload in the mill, and the mill cannot be operated. Then there is the sound effect on-off button, which is the sound of the mill in operation. If you don't like it, then you can turn it off. Next there is a log out button. This button serves to exit the simulation. The restart button functions to start the simulation from the beginning. The running indicator is green. This means the simulator is ready to operate. The fade button, this function is to delay or pause. For example, you are on a lunch break. Then the simulation can be paused first. Then after the break is finished, it starts again. When it restarts, the operating conditions are still the same as in the last condition before being paused. Setting the speed of the simulation operation using 5 speeds. Furthermore, in this simulation, you can also see the trend of coal mill operating parameters. For example, you select heating, then what is displayed is the trend of opening the damper mill fan, opening the circulation damper, speed booster fan, and mill out temperature. Then, if the mill system is selected, the trend of speed separator, mill vibration, hydraulic pressure, and bed material will be displayed. Then for products selected, you can see mill feeding, moisture content, and residue from the resulting fine coal products. To operate this coal mill, you must really understand the standard operating coal mill in detail, because in the operation of this coal mill, it has a very high level of risk for explosions and fires. So in operating it must be done very carefully. Why? Because what is processed is fuel, and to operate the coal mill also uses hot gas. What we must always remember is that there are certain limits that must always be followed, such as for example mill outlet temperature limits, CO and O2 limits, fine coal product fineness limits. For example, to grind coal of low quality or low calories. This type of coal has high volatile matter and high moisture content, so in its operation, the residue is limited to half of the volatile matter value, and the mill outlet temperature is kept below 70 degrees Celsius. CO in coal mill operations is limited to below 3000 ppm or 0.3%, then for O2 is limited to below 10%. These limits aim to minimize the occurrence of explosions and fires from the operation of the production process in the coal mill system. Next I will explain about how to start the equipment in preparation for the operation of the coal mill using this simulator. We enter or click Group 1. In operating this coal mill, the first thing that must be started is the safety control equipment, namely the coal mill stack dust analyzer, coal mill gas analyzer for the coal bin and bag filter must be ready. Then, start the heating and condition group, which I explained earlier that this is a heater that is installed in the hopper's dust collector. Double-click, then select Auto and click Select. Next start the dust collector, fine coal bin. There are some factories that have to carry out material transport first, and some have the dust collector fine coal bin run first. But in general the dust collector is started first, then the transport product. After the dust collector starts, the product transport is ready to start. Then start the transport product by selecting in Auto, and sequentially all the transport equipment is running. Then the next equipment, the air sealing fan is start first. Then start the roller lubrication unit. Then start the hydraulic system. Start the gear lubrication unit. Then start water injection. Water injection is started. This does not mean the pump goes straight, and water enters the mill system, but water enters and pumps only when needed. Before I proceed to start other equipment, I will explain that in this hydraulic system, there is a selection of roller-up mode and grinding mode. This is its function. When the feeding material has not been inserted, the position is still roller-up mode, or the roller is still lifted, and after the feeding material is inserted, the grinding mode is selected or the roller down touches the material above the table. And then, start separator. In order for mill fan to be ready, there are several requirements, including, separator speed must be increased first, and fan preparation ready. This fan preparation includes mill fan. Increase the speed of the separator, for example it is increased to 50%. After fan preparation is ready, then double-click and click Selection. Fan preparation is to open the damper, inlet and outlet of the dust collector, then start the bag filter or purging system. Furthermore, after the dust collector is run, the mill fan is ready to be started. To start the mill fan, it can be done through the Start group, or you can click directly on the motor from this display. After the mill fan is started, then open the damper gradually, per 5% each increase, until the damper opening is as desired. For the requirements of coal mill operation or startup mill, the damper mill fan opening is a minimum of 25%. That was how to use the ISeeMulator program, for the operation of the coal mill, from the start of the equipment, as preparation for heating up the coal mill. For this session, I will finish it here, then in the next session I will explain how to operate coal mill with ISeeMulator, starting from heating up coal mill, start up coal mill, and controlling coal mill operations to optimal operating conditions. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it's useful, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share. See you in the next session.